Hello again, everyone. Matt Loughlin along with the Maven, Stan Fischler, the newest U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame member, and congratulations on that, Stan. And the last wrong to be righted is going into the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto, but that's a story for another day. Always good to see you, my friend. How is life treating you?
Life is very good, very good. I'm still thrilled with hockey. Probably too emotional still.
You?
Yeah, I'm still 14 years old as a fan. I'm striving for 15. I'll never make it. But
I think you have the record for water bottles thrown in a studio and the frustration shown when something didn't go right for a team you were following, or maybe sometimes a team you weren't necessarily working for, but you love the sport. Yes, you did.
I threw things, and I
attest.
once did this to a desk and cracked it. Fortunately, I didn't get a bill.
Yeah, and sometimes there were words exchanged with visiting media who were happy when their team did well, and then the Devils would come back, or the Islanders, depending on who you would cover, and then you'd give it right back to them. Which is what makes you great.
You're being too kind to Mike Liut.
Stan, did you write something as a story about Mike Liut in the Hockey News?
He stormed the studio.
He stormed the studio. He was getting ready for a game, and he comes down the hallway at the Meadowlands.
I was up on the barricades, crying out. Oh.
And Roland Dratch, who's now the producer of the Devils, was your studio producer at the time, and he said, did you write something about Mike Liut recently?
I certainly did.
Skewered him in the Hockey News. He's coming down the hallway. Lock the door.
I thought it was Darth Vader before Darth Vader, for crying out loud. Wow.
And now he's a fairly prominent agent in the world.
He is, and he's not mine either.
No, he's not. It's mutual. So you still follow the game, even though you're living in Israel. I mean, it's a small world we live in. How hard or difficult is it to keep up with the National Hockey League from Israel?
It's very easy, because with all the the network stuff, and you pay a couple of bucks, you can see practically anything. Now, as a Devils fan, there's an issue. If you guys have a 7 o'clock game, it's 2 a.m. in Israel. Now, so that means if we're going to get up, or we're going to get up at 2 in the morning, it's got to be a pretty big game, you see. So any game with the Flyers, the Rangers, the Islanders, they're big games. But in the morning, you see, and I'm, doing newsletters and stuff, and I'm going to be starting, and I'm in the Hockey News, I have to catch as early as possible. So I generally would get up at 5 in the morning. It's still West games are still on, and get the scores and get the stuff. And so it's difficult if you want to see every single game. You want to watch every single Devil game. You got to be up at 2 in the morning. That's tough. But you get up at 5. You get all the stuff you need, the highlights, blah blah blah, and of course. There are hockey fans there, not that many, but my family are all fans. And like I said, I told you, I have 2 kids playing hockey in Switzerland, so that's pretty intense.
Yeah. Well, it's clear. By the way, there is still something put out called the Fischler Report.
That's right.
It is emailed on a regular basis. I appreciate the fact that I get it the time from you.
It's now going to be in the Hockey News.
Is it really?
Yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Okay,
Monday,
great.
Wednesday, Friday. I'm giving you a hot tip.
Thank you. Will you still mail me my free copies, though? Or am I going to have to dig into the pocket for a few?
I don't get into that. I'm not in subscriptions.
All right, there we go. We'll have to make sure the subscription to the Hockey News stays firm and stays up to date, because I do love reading your stuff, which does prove to anyone who does get the Fischler Report, and now who will be reading it in the Hockey News, that you do know what's going on. You haven't lost your touch at all. You skewer when appropriate, and you praise when appropriate. Lately, the praise about Connor McDavid. What do you think about what he's been able to do?
Well, you can't compare Connor McDavid with somebody like Maurice Richard or guys from the past, because it's so much faster. It's a different game. But this guy is astonishing. Now, I never was a big fan of Edmonton because it's too cold there, you see, and you know that. Yes. But this guy's hot. But this guy's hotter than hot. This guy is white heat. I watched this guy, like the game against the Rangers, where he went through an entire team, and then he sent the goalie somewhere into outer space and scored. He's doing things because of his natural talent. They got natural talent, and he's got all these assets, the composite sticks, which you never had Guy like the Rocket had a wooden stick. That was it. And he's got the high-tech blades, but with all this, he is doing things that nobody else has done at the highest possible speed. And he's a pretty darn good ambassador of the game. He's a good guy. Over the years, you find guys who are not. Rocket was difficult until he learned English, and he was very friendly after that. But McDavid is. I have written a piece where I compared him. The best guy you can compare him with, who was like him in the past, was Jean Beliveau.
One of my favorites.
Jean Beliveau was big like McDavid.
Le Gros Bill.
Right. And what he had and what McDavid has is a majesty. I know one other guy who has a majesty like that. I'm looking at him. You're laughing. I'm not making a joke now.
Okay, all right.
I'm flattered. Once you put this on,
did you like that?
You became majestic.
Exactly. Distinguished. A friend of mine said I look now with the mustache. It doesn't, like Santa Claus beard. But for those who are Matt and the Maven aficionados and followers from back in the day, you all know about Santa Claus and the beard that didn't stay permanent. So Jean Beliveau, that's a hell of a person to compare Connor McDavid to, because first off, great on the ice, and also, as you said, an ambassador, great off the ice. I remember fondly anytime we would go to Montreal, I would request through the Canadiens the opportunity in an intermission to speak with Jean Beliveau, and he came down every time. And right now, I'm not lying, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it, because I got goosebumps then. He was that influential, that great of a man, and just fortunate to have known him. So how do you stop Connor McDavid?
I've discussed this with my buddy David Kolb, and of course, it's very hard to explain the technique because nobody's mastered it, right? And it's very hard to define the one player who could do it because he's not around anymore. But Claude Provo of the Canadiens had the knack of stopping Bobby Hull in his prime. Now, Bobby Hull was the Connor McDavid of then. And you have to have somebody who could keep up with this guy. Well, if Connor McDavid is the fastest guy in the league, where's the motorcycle that you're going to have to keep up with this guy, right? So you have to find a guy. Nobody has, for crying out loud. He averages a point almost every single game. He's got his henchman there who pots goals. But McDavid is the best. We used to say in Brooklyn, he is a #1 Yankee Doodle Ipsy Pipsy. Nothing is better than that.
No, that's high praise indeed. The Ipsy Pipsy elevates it to levels reserved for just a few people.
Didn't have the Pipsy.
Yeah, no, Leon, no. So let's turn from Connor McDavid, sublime, to some of the ridiculous, some of the falls, some of the teams and players who have stumbled. What surprised you the most? Canadiens, their failure?
Oh, for sure. We were watching them in the finals. And
kind of fugazi, though, wasn't it? Kind of a fugazi move to the finals coming out of the All-Canadian division. They had to win the semifinals.
Of course, but still, look at the teams they beat, for crying out loud. And what was so great about the Canadiens? They had a couple of good guys. They had Carey Price, played some good games and some not so good games. And they had an interim coach. And to get that far and then to plummet the way they have. It was just, it was stunning. But, a lot of eccentricities. Look at the Ottawa team, for crying out. I thought that's a surprise. I thought this was going to be the year for the Senators, for crying out loud. Kachuk, they got a contract. They have a good coach. They even imported one of ours, Pierre Maguire. He's got a big title now. It's probably a small desk, but he got a big title.
But a big paycheck.
Yes, that's right, and his name is there. So, and he's a Jersey guy.
Yes, he is.
Right. So I thought Ottawa would be gangbusters.
Is it because of Matt Murray? Is it simply goaltending that has failed them?
Huge. But, they got hit with the COVID, and so, but still, it has to be the Canadians. Then, there was some very pleasant surprises. I know in Detroit, they didn't think that the Red Wings going to be competitive this year. Look at Anaheim. And they got some new kids there who are really good. And let's face it, the Rangers have been strong. Gallant is a good coach. Mm-hmm. Gallant and Lindy Ruff, to me, are very, very similar in lots of ways, experience and styles. So, but every year we do have surprises. Mm-hmm. We do have surprises. So, but it's so important. That's why I go back to the Devils. Goaltending is so important, and that's where they failed in Ottawa.
And in Montreal, it's not lived up to Carey Price hasn't played this year, but they expected better goaltending. But yeah, they're a mess, though. But you're right, goaltending, and we're kind of running out of time here, but goaltending is, over the last 5 years, now has become elevated. It used to be like, let the guy go down there and practice, but we got to get these 18 guys ready. Now I think we realize how important the man in the pipes. Devils fans can attest to that. Marty Brodeur, 3 cups. Yeah. But there's been this sense that, if we have the right 18 guys, anybody can do it. You got to have the right guy there, then the 18 guys can do it.
Yeah, and Lehner is finding out how it is to play without the Flower backup. Fleury's now in Chicago, and I say that's why you're going to see Vegas not do that good this year. Lehner can't handle it alone, and the guy he's got for a backup is a number 3 for my money.
He's not ipsy-pipsy.
Not even Pips.
All right, there you go. That is the man himself, Stan Fischler. Matt and the Maven, thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye, everyone.